Once again, Gerard Fox. I have a sensitive subject as far as the music industry.
A sensitive subject?
Yes. And I say it's sensitive because there's always been a war between what is real hip-hop. Now, I want to know what your views are as far as people saying, oh, this, like, today's current music is not real hip-hop, but back in the days, it was real hip-hop and things like that. Like, how do you feel about that?
Well, you know exactly how I feel about that. You just want me to put it on camera.
Exactly.
You're trying to put me on blast.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, you know how I feel about haters. I don't like haters. I'm not into the so-called quote-unquote real hip-hop thing and all that, and underground hip-hop. I'm not an advocate for that. I guess you would call me, I'm an advocate for commercial music. You know, I'm an advocate for music that makes money, because I do believe that when you have a lot of money, you can help people in the masses. Like, I saw on the news the other day, 50 Cent went over to Africa and was feeding people in Somalia and feeding, you know, villages and doing these things. If you don't have millions of dollars and have a lot of money, I mean, you can't impact people's lives like that. You know, so I commend him for that. I mean, wow, I take my hat off to him. You know, to me, these so-called real hip-hop and underground hip-hop guys, they're the biggest haters. I know a lot of them. And they're always complaining. Oh, this ain't real and that ain't real. And they're always upset. They're never happy. You know, I'm a happy guy. They're always upset about something. I don't like that. Why is this person doing that? I don't like this kind of music. That's not real hip hop. Why did he put that kind of beat together? Why is he dressed like that? I don't like what she said. You know, at the end of the day, my dude, music is music. And I believe in making music for the world. I don't believe in making music for a segmented group of people. I don't believe in having like only a small group of people like what I do, because I have this feeling in me that besides making music, I want to help people. You know, making music is what I do to feed my family. It's what I do to pay the bills. But overall, when you make commercial music that the world can feel and you can make a lot of money, it puts you in a position where you can help a lot of people that cannot help themselves. Now, a good positive word, a good energy, good advice, that always helps. But in the real world, how about a good word and some money? If you're trying to cure a sickness, if you're trying to cure hunger, we need a lot of money. So if you're going to purposely be involved in a form of music that doesn't generate a lot of money, and then you're only complaining about the people that are making money, I don't get it. Like, somebody was saying to me the other day, they didn't like a certain song because the song was a rap song. And what song was it? Oh yeah, I was in the barbershop. And to give you an example, I was in the barbershop and some guy in the barbershop said he didn't like Drake because Drake is always singing and this type of stuff, and that's not real hip-hop. And I'm like, how is that real hip-hop? I said, dude, you're talking to a guy that grew up in the 70s and the 80s. I mean, I may look young, but I'm not no young whippersnapper. And I can take you back to 75, 76, 77, when there were rap groups that sang and rapped. You cannot take a certain period of hip-hop. I'm sorry if you think that hip-hop started in 1989. You know, if you think hip-hop started in 88, and I mean no disrespect to any of these people, but if you think hip-hop started with DJ Premier and hip-hop started with KRS-One, you're very wrong. Hip-hop started way before that. And I love those guys. I love their work. But that's not the definition of hip-hop. You know, when you start going back to Cold Crush and Crash Crew and groups like that, these dudes harmonized and sang on records in 78, 77, 79. That was the origination of hip-hop. So singing has always been a part of hip-hop. Singing has always been an integral part of hip-hop. When you look at the Sugar Hill Gang, they used a chic record. You know what I'm saying? They used a chic record that was a disco record and became one of the biggest rap records ever in 79. And back then, what were the rappers talking about? They were bragging and boasting. Oh, I got this man, so I got a big long caddy. I got a Seville. I got all the girls. And like bragging, boasting, talking about you got a lot of ladies, lying, embellishing has always been part of hip hop, because it was a way for people to express themselves and get out of the situation they were in and have a free mind and go into fantasy. You may be poor and you may be from the projects, but you could get on record and say, I got a long Lincoln Continental, which you don't. You know what I'm saying? Say, oh, I'm a pimp and I got all the girls and I got the flashy jewelry, which you don't. You don't. But there was nothing wrong with that, because there's nothing wrong with doing those things when you're dealing with poetry. You have the freedom of expression. And that has been part of hip-hop for years, way before 88, 89, what people call the so-called golden era of hip-hop. I was listening to hip-hop way before that. So, honestly, I'm going to use Drake for an example, because I brought that up. To me, Drake is the embodiment of hip-hop. He is hip-hop. When you rap and you sing and you talk about all these different things and you got a nice little flow, you make good music, Drake, you cannot prove to me that Drake is not hip-hop. He's more hip-hop than most people that claim this real hip-hop shit talk about. You know, so you know I have a real strong feeling when it comes to that, because, dog, half of these dudes running around talking about real hip-hop are broke. And they have no money. They can't even help themselves or sustain themselves. And they're nothing but haters and complainers. They're upset at this guy, and they're mad at this guy. This guy sold 50 million records, I'm mad at him. And this guy's in Forbes, oh, I'm upset with him. I don't like this one. You know, all that. And that's why they'll never be successful. They'll never make money, because they only put negative energy into the air. So, you know, I am an advocate for commercial music. And if you want to come and debate with me about this real hip-hop stuff and all that, you know, do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready. You can meet me anywhere. We can sit down and go all day at any panel, because you're talking to a hip-hop historian. And I'm going to show you how there are guys in the real hip-hop that were singing more than Drake before 1989. So check yourself when you're talking to me. You know, you see, you done got me in. Yo, shut this off, man. I'm out of here, man.